There it is. It's straight above us. It's straight above us.
Yeah, clear as day. It's right there. That's unbelievable. Cover the sun with your hand, all right? You won't see it all the time because the light reflects off of it differently, but you will see it if you look. It's like literally just straight up.
Oh, there it is.
You got it?
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. That is so cool.
Space travel has always been a dream of mine, but since it's unlikely I'll be able to go anytime soon, we're going to have to try to get there another way.
Ready for launch?
We're going to launch a weather balloon to space. Well, technically near space, since space begins at the Kármán line, which is about 100 kilometers up. So we're going to launch a payload with some onboard tracking instruments and cameras to capture the views as we move up through the atmosphere. And this will be the balloon that takes us there.
The typical use of weather balloons is for weather prediction. Weather balloons are launched twice daily from specific sites throughout North America and around the world to measure things like temperature, humidity, and winds with height in the lower atmosphere. This essential data is then fed into supercomputers that generate weather model output that meteorologists use to help make weather forecasts. But for our purposes, we're going to use a 1,200-gram weather balloon as a vessel to get us out to near space.
Now, a lot of preparatory work will go into this process in order to do it right. First, we've built the box here that'll contain our instruments, and we call this the Payload. The box is lightweight, made of styrofoam and wrapped in tuck tape to keep the moisture out. Inside the box, we've got a radio transmitter and antenna as well. Got a backup spot device for GPS tracking. 2 cameras here. We're going to have them pointing in different directions, as well as a backup power source in the event that the batteries die in the cameras. And finally, the balloon is going to rise and expand until it bursts, at which time this parachute will open and slow its descent to the ground.
We've weighed the payload, which helps us determine the amount of lifting gas we'll need while keeping it under the legal size limit. And then we can calculate things like ascent rate, burst altitude, and where the balloon could end up.
Our 2 main goals are that our cameras are still rolling when the balloon bursts and that we can find our payload afterwards. So, let's go.
Well, the weather looks pretty good out of the launch site. I'm excited but a little bit nervous because there's a lot that could potentially go wrong today, like our camera batteries dying early, the balloon bursting prematurely, if we lose contact with the radio transmitters and then we can't find the payload afterward. The other thing that could happen is if the payload lands in a really sketchy area today, which it could potentially do as it heads toward the Alberta badlands.
We head northeast of Calgary, well outside of controlled airspace, to Kármán, a village just west of Alberta's badlands. For help on this mission, I'll be teaming up with my friend Nick and launching from his cabin. By day, Nick manages the IT department of a healthcare company, but in his free time, he's an amateur radio operator, having launched numerous weather balloons over the years. He also builds model trains that are big enough to ride on. I'm also joined by Matthew, a PhD student in space physics at the University of Calgary, and by Will, a computer scientist.
Nice to meet you, Will.
Will, nice to meet you.
Matthew.
Hey, good to see you again.
So before we launch, we've got to make sure that the payload is totally secure with batteries in, cameras turned on, before we start filling up the balloon. And here's some hand warmers to make sure that we keep the batteries nice and toasty warm.
They're pretty cool.
How long do they last for?
A couple hours, usually.
It'll be enough.
So we get a final weight of the payload, secure all instruments inside, and begin laying out the flight train, attaching the parachute, which will slow the descent of the box back down to Earth. I fight back feelings of nervousness after turning on the cameras, realizing that it's soon go time for my first launch.
Sorry on these?
Anywhere here, here.
This is a really expensive payload, so I really need to get this back.
Well, now you know how NASA feels when they launch a $1 billion spacecraft and then miss Mars.
After confirming we've completed everything on the checklist, it's time to fill the balloon. Normally, we'd use helium to fill the balloon, but there's a significant shortage of it right now, making it very expensive. So we've opted for hydrogen as a lifting gas, which is cheaper but far more hazardous to work with, which is why I've paired up with my friends who are trained in handling it.
So how do we work safely around hydrogen?
Don't smoke near it. It's really explosive.
Okay, what about the compressed nature of the gas?
So there's a ton of pressure in here, and if this end gets knocked off, then what you've got is an unguided missile, and it will shoot 100 meters or so in that direction. So we shouldn't do that.
This isn't your everyday party balloon. As this balloon fills, we need several people to hold it so that a sudden gust of wind doesn't knock it to the ground and cause it to burst prematurely.
You have balloon?
I have balloon.
All is now secure, and it's go time.
Ready for launch?
Let's go.
All clear.
Here we go.
Beautiful.
Bye.
That is gorgeous.
Being lighter than air, the hydrogen inside the balloon makes it buoyant. It rises away from the Earth at about 4 meters per second as the village of carbon appears smaller and smaller below. As more altitude is gained, stunning geographical features appear on the Alberta landscape below, revealing where rivers have carved steep canyons out of the surrounding flatlands. Throughout the flight, the path of the balloon will be at the mercy of the winds as it rises through the troposphere and well into the next layer of our atmosphere, the stratosphere. Initially rising straight up, it has now begun to drift northeastwards away from us. At launch, the temperature was about 9 degrees Celsius. Now, about 21 minutes into the flight, the temperature is a chilly minus 35 as the balloon rises through a cloud layer near 17,000 feet. Here, ice crystals sparkle in the sun, refracting its light and causing a wonderful display of optics that's seen as a 22-degree halo, which is also reflecting off the cloud below. Rising through 26,000 feet, we have broken into the stratosphere. Here, the temperature has bottomed out at about minus 52 degrees Celsius, but the heat being generated by the instruments inside the payload keeps the internal temperature at a comfortable 23. By now, the view is approximately what you would see at cruise altitude on a cross-country commercial airliner. Back on the ground, we've been tracking the balloon's progress via radio signal. We decide to mobilize when we notice the balloon turn toward the northeast. This takes it towards some very tricky terrain should we be forced to retrieve it here in the Alberta Badlands.
So the best place for a balloon to land is in between the road and the fence on public property.
Where's like the worst place that you've ever lost a payload?
I guess that's tied. Once was a 45-minute walk from the nearest road, and the other one was right in the middle of the road, and you could see cars driving around it as we were approaching it. My favorite landing location was it landed on a small island near Hannah, and we had to kayak to recover the payload.
A sense of nervous excitement begins to wash over me.
Oh, baby! I'm getting nervous!
We pull over when we arrive under the balloon, now rising through about 80,000 feet, but otherwise nearly stationary. Then we make a surprising observation.
There it is. It's straight above us. It's straight above us.
Yeah, clear as day. It's right there. That's unbelievable. Cover the sun with your hand, all right? You won't see it all the time because the light reflects off of it differently, but you will see it if you look. It's like literally just straight up.
Oh, there it is.
You got it?
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. That is so cool.
We are amazed to capture this photo of the balloon nearly 25 kilometers above us, which looks like a bright star from the ground. After nearly 2 hours of flight time, we break through 100,000 feet, or over 30 kilometers above the Earth. The balloon has now expanded to nearly 25 feet across and will soon burst. Along the horizon below, the sky appears blue as light scatters off an abundance of air molecules. But here, the air is so thin that the sun's light passes right through, causing the sky to appear black. The force of gravity causes the air to be thickest near the surface, rapidly thinning with height. More than 80% of all the air in the atmosphere is now below us. All of the nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, carbon dioxide, and other trace gases. Few human beings have laid their eyes upon this view, which is truly breathtaking to behold. For a few moments, nearly all weather and life itself exists below. The balloon bursts in spectacular fashion, sending the payload into free fall back toward the Earth. It twists and turns in a kind of chaotic dance, affording us a surprising perspective of the atmosphere below, the protective blanket over our precious planet, without which life as we know it would not exist.
Just received another transmission. It's at 28,000 feet. Should be on the ground within 12 minutes at the current rate of descent.
Back on Earth, we've detected the burst and move into intercept mode. The payload is still regularly transmitting its location, but it's plummeting to Earth faster than expected while violently swinging around, raising concerns about whether the parachute opened. Thankfully, we've cleared the badlands, but unlike the launch area, the potential landing zone could pose more challenges.
There are a lot of trees around here. It could be a very interesting recovery. Also lots of cattle, and there's water, and there's hills.
But suddenly, things take a turn for the worse.
Looks like we were getting inaccurate measurements out of our altitude altimeter that's coming from the GPS data. Also on another interesting note, we had 2 trackers on this balloon, and they've separated, so they're no longer together. We think the micro tracker has ripped off of the parachute.
So it's been 14 minutes since our last contact with the box. Definitely a little bit concerned here that we may have lost the payload.
Feeling dejected, we drive toward the coordinates of the last known position when we get another surprise.
What's that up there?
Is that it?
What's that up there?
Oh my god.
No way. That can.
That's
It
on
is.
the road.
That's it. That's it.
Found it.
No way.
Okay, we gotta get pictures before we touch it.
No. No way. It's right freaking there, bro. On
Nice.
the road.
Okay, that's the second time that's happened.
It's on the road. Everything is here.
Except most of the balloon. It's got a red light on it.
This one is still rolling. This one is still rolling. So this one went up above 100,000 feet. I cannot believe it. It landed on the road in the middle of the woods.
Let's open it. I want to know what happened with the
Okay,
tracker.
we're opening the box. Here, who's got a knife? Where's the knife? I'm too excited. Hold on, let me get a knife.
Okay, I want to see something. Everything's moved.
Has it?
Yeah,
So
that's
violent.
not where my radio was mounted.
It turns out that the violent motion of the payload tumbling downward caused some of our instruments to move inside the box, causing GPS interference and creating the appearance that the payload had separated. Then it hit the ground with enough force that the antenna actually separated from the radio. Thankfully, no damage was done to our instruments. But even more impressive was that of all places, the payload landed right on the side of a public road.
We are extremely lucky. I had a very bad feeling in my stomach for a while there because I thought that we lost the whole thing. Moment of truth. We're gonna see if we actually got any footage. Oh my gosh. Look at that. You gotta be kidding me.
You get it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's stable too. We did it, dude. All right.
Congratulations.
So we did it. We pulled it off,
Congratulations.
and we found the payload right here on the side of the road. Just such a great day. Wasn't it a great day? Like
It was a beautiful day.
Couldn't have gone better.
So while it was a little stressful at times, successfully launching a balloon to near space with friends and capturing out-of-this-world footage turned out to be a great adventure, one I hope to repeat again in the near future.